Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you guys my weathery deck profile for November 2017. I knew that they changed the deck to the Weather Painter in the TCG, but I thought the Weathery was a much cooler name for this deck, and we mean to give you guys a deck profile of this deck since the release of this pack Friday back. It's a really awesome deck that makes use of the column effects that you can do with a bunch of different cards, and thanks to my girlfriend Marissa collecting up all the cards for the deck quite passionately, I was able to let myself borrow the deck for the deck profile. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, to start off, I run 3 the Weather Painter Snow, probably one of the best weather painters in the deck. When this card is normal summon, you can place 1 the Weather Spell or Trap from your deck face up in your Spell and Trap card zone. You can only use the effect of the Weather Painter Snow once per turn, and once per turn during the standby phase of the turn after this card was banished from the field. To activate the Weather card effect, you can special summon this banished card. So most of the time this is meant to go off of the effect of your Link monster, which is the Weather Painter Rainbow, which gives the weather monsters that she points to the banish effect to negate an effect. We'll get to that later on, so you can keep consistency with your monster presence on the field using this card. But also it's really good search for your continuous spell and trap cards, which will be made use of later. I also run 3 the Weather Painter Thunder. With this one, you can send 1 face-up continuous spell or trap you control to the graveyard. Place 1 the Weather Spell and Trap from your deck face-up in your Spell and Trap zone. You can only use the effect of the Weather Painter Thunder once per turn, and once per turn during your standby phase of the turn after this card is banished from the field to activate the Weather card effect, you can special summon this banished card. So once again, it shares that banish effect, but basically the face-up Spell and Trap continuous effect by sending it to the graveyard is a really good effect just for a little more pressure on your opponent. Their stats are also pretty good as well for Thunder, having the higher attack compared to Snow, vice versa with the defense. Pretty high defense also for a level 3 monster, gotta add, with the Snow, but 0 attack. But like I said, also one of your more offensive units in the deck. Also 3 Weather Painter Sun. Might cut this down to 2. I like the revival effect that this card has. If this card is in your graveyard, you can send 1 face-up continuous spell or trap you control to the graveyard, special summon this card in defense, and if you do, place 1 the Weather Spell and Trap from your hand face-up in your Spell and Trap card zone. You can only use the effect of Painter Sun once per turn, and once per turn during your standby phase after this card was banished. It has the same special summon return effect. Now, the one thing I don't like about the Sun so much is that it has to be from the hand for the set, but the revival effect is really good in my opinion. For the send effect, you can basically send stuff that you've searched off of Snow to get this guy back on the field, and with easy special summoning off of both of the effects, you'll be sure you can always use him for your Link summon and other plays as well. And also 2 the Weather Painter Cloud. Now also you gotta see that they all share different attributes, which you can make use of in the deck as well. With the Weather Painter Cloud, if another face-up the weather card you control is sent to the graveyard, you can target up to 2 the Weather Spell Traps in your graveyard, place them face up in your Spell and Trap card zone. You can only use this effect of the Weather Painter Cloud once per turn, and then it also shares the Banish effect as well. So what you also want to remember is that there's like a certain order what makes them superior to each other. Obviously you want to open up with Snow first and get that search off, followed by Thunder, and then finish up with Cloud and Sun, just because Cloud and really uses its effect in the graveyard to add back and replenish. So it's sort of like a loop with the add effect with this, and then re-adding it from the graveyard with the Cloud, going back and forth, so you can always make use of your weathery spell and traps. Now, alone the deck isn't as powerful. I am running the true Draco version in the deck. It adds consistency since you have spell and trap cards being added. I only run the monster lineup in the deck to help with this, just because this really helps set up with your columns with your spell and trap card zones, but the true Dracos are the more offensive part of the deck that just, make or break it as a whole. Having your, like I said, spell and trap set up with these cards to tribute out for your big monsters like Draco Masterpiece just help with the pop effect that you can use with him to get over some of your opponent's more challenging cards. Same with Majesty Maiden, just for the easy summon. So basically tribute this card and tribute 1 face up You can tribute a continuous spell or trap instead of a monster, and once per turn during the player's turn, when your opponent activates a card effect, while you control this tribute summon card, you can add one True Draco or True King monster from your deck to your hand, searching out Masterpiece, obviously, with this card's effect. And also, just one Dryeth the Third for the additional quick effect add off of this card. It is basically target one face-up True Draco or True King monster on the field with card effects, except for this card. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, so more of a continuous effect to run with this unit as well. And lastly, one Metaltron, the 12th, just for the easy tribute for the Spell and Traps Zone, another powerhouse you can run in the deck. And I also like it for its extra deck summoning ability, getting out some pretty high, powerful extra deck monsters, which we'll get to in a bit as well once we go over the extra deck. And just for helping to speed up the Link Summon play, also just the one Gofu, the Vague Shadow. I run the Scapegoat engine as well, so two of those just help to get the tokens out for more Link Summon Swarm. And lastly, to finish up the monsters, I run one Hecatrice. This is to search out basically the Sanctuary in the Sky, which I also play to help speed up the basic fairy special summon with this card, getting more monster field swarm out, and it just helps to search out the Sanctuary in the Sky, because you don't want to run 3 Sanctuary in the Sky, in my opinion, when you're running that version. And one Maxi just to finish up the monster zone for the easy draw power, obviously. And then moving on to the spells, I run 2 the Weather Rainy Canvas. Now, with these numbers on the Weather Rainy Canvas, I really like the Sanctuary in the Sky and Valhalla plays. If you don't prefer these cards in the deck, you can max out all of the spells in the deck to the numbers that you prefer, and also take out the Hecatrice as well, since you'll have no need for that card either. And then just go full-on continuous spell card play, relying mostly on the weather card effects to search out and add these, and then going off of the tribute for the True Dracos. But with the Weather Rainy Canvas, the weather effect monsters on your main monster zones of this card's column and its adjacent columns gain this effect. You can banish this card, target one spell or trap your opponent controls. It's a quick effect, return it to the hand. You can only control one Rainy Canvas. The control effect also is a big key play as to why I do not run more than one of this card, because they can be dead draws if you open up with them in your hand. And also 2 Weather Snowy Canvas. The weather effects gain the effect, you banish this card, quick effect, add 1 the weather card from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot add cards from your deck to your hand for the rest of the turn except by drawing them. You can only control 1 Snow Canvas. And then the numbers also are 1 Sunny Canvas and 1 Cloudy Canvas. So half the current attack of the monster for the rest of this turn, but it can attack directly with this gained effect. And this one, you basically banish this card, then target 1 monster you control. Quick effect, tribute that target. If you do, special summon 1 the weather monster from your hand or graveyard, but not with the same name of the tributed monster had on the field. So like I said, these numbers can be adjusted to how you want to prefer if you don't want to run the Sanctuary in the Sky engine. But basically with Sanctuary in the Sky, it is the field spell that battle damage the controller of a fairy type monster becomes 0. So a little protection for your lower weather monsters with the lower attack on the field. Just kind of protection in that sense. And also 2 Valhalla of the Fallen. Another continuous spell, just for, 1, it is a continuous, you can make use of it in that sense, but also for the special summon field swarm of your weather monsters, because sometimes you can just be 1 short of good play that could later come out to help you. And also to finish up the spells, I run 2 Scapegoats. This is just for the token swarm that you can make use of for your Link Summon plays, Mrs. Radiant, and other useful cards. And also 1 Regeki and 1 Dimensional Fissure. The Defissure is because it's a continuous spell card, obviously, and make use of the banish mechanic from your weathers as well. And then for the traps, I run 3 the Weather Thunder Canvas, the continuous trap in the deck. The weather monsters in your main monster zone of this card's column and adjacent columns gain the effect of at the start of damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can banish this card, return that opponent's monster to the hand. You can only control 1 Thunder Canvas. Now, if you want to get more of this card on the field, you can obviously tribute it for the True Dracos, getting rid of the one that was on the field, then just searching out another one, easy as that. But the power of this card just helps for more offensive plays, like I stated, since not too many of the weathers focus on offensive plays and more just setup of the field. And also 1 Solemn Warning and 1 Solemn Strike, just for the monster effect negation. Pretty standard, you don't pay life at all in this deck, really. And 1 Miraculous Descent, just for the target one of your banished fairy monsters, special summon it. And when this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. So kind of a Call of the Haunted for the banished, just an extra little tech I like if you need that additional one of your banished fairies to grab it back to the field to use. And that is it for the main deck. We will move on to the extra. I won 2, the Weather Painter Rainbow. Now, with this card, when your opponent would special summon a monster quick effect, you can send this link monster to the graveyard, negate the summon. If you do, destroy the monster. And once per turn during the standby phase of the turn that this card banished from the field to activate the Weather card effect, you can special summon this banished card, and the weather effect monsters that this card points to gain the effect of when a card or effect is activated quick effect. You can banish this card, negate the activation if you do destroy it. Now the arrows really help with that situation since they all point down, meaning you most of the time do want to get this card in your main monster zone to have those arrows point to. A little difficult to do, but when you do, you have a very powerful play that you can make use of. Just having your fairy monsters on the field to have this card point to are also very important for that. And then also 1 Topologic Bomber, 1 Akashic Magician, 1 Proxy Dragon, 1 Borreload Dragon, 1 Firewall Dragon, 1 Gaia Saber, 1 Decode Talker, the 2 Mrs. Radiant for the Scapegoat, 1 Leviathan Dragon, and 1 Leviair, mostly because the weathers are all level 3. If you have the, I couldn't find my Grand Pulse, so if you have Grand Pulse, throw it in instead of the Leviathan for the deck. And then for the Dry Earth, the 12th, I run 1 Naturia Exterio and 1 Crystal Wing, just because of its extra deck special summon effect, to get out a more powerful card when it is destroyed, either one of your choice, depending on what you need for the situation, spell or trap negation, or monster effects. Both can come in really handy for the deck. But yeah, that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Once again, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, Kira Twig out.